They're not your boss. They're not your manager. They don't have power over you. They work for you. You work for them. You do not need to be afraid of your agent. I like to look at agents as like dating.
1, 2, 3, let's switch this up.
Honeys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, welcome. My name is Anastasia. I'm an actor based here in Toronto. I make videos about acting, self-love, body positivity, and occasional vlogs. If you have not done so already, if you are new, please don't forget to subscribe. And of course, don't forget to turn on the bell notification button so you know every single time that I post, which is on Fridays. Today in this video, honeys, we're gonna talk about agents, all about them, and hopefully this video will help you. I think through my entire years of acting, in my entire years of doing this and being in this industry, especially even like in theater school, I was programmed, and a lot of my classmates were programmed to know that agents are like this scary thing, and that agents sort of almost like power over you, and agents kind of take control over you, and you know, they're your boss, blah, blah, blah. And you kind of come out of this, and when you try to find an agent, like actors are instilled this fear on the inside that, you know, agents are the end all be all, and if you don't have one, that's it, you're done. And oh my God, God forbid you say this to the agent, or God forbid you speak out the truth, and oh, like your agent's gonna drop you and all this bullshit. Like, it pisses me off and it blows my mind that this culture of fear still is instilled in a lot of actors, especially a lot of new actors, because that is just not a way you want to start in the industry. It's not a way you want to even know and go about the industry. So I want to start breaking the barrier on that, and that's why I'm doing this video, to talk about this, because it is so important to have a conversation about agents and how to talk to them, and what kind of relationship can you have with them, what kind of relationship you should try to strive for. And you know what? Things can go south with agents, and what do you do if that happens? So let's get into it, honeys. So agents, what are they? Who are they? Where does this all start? So an agent is something you obviously will need in order to be working in the acting industry. When you're non-union, it's okay to not have an agent and find your own non-union work. It's very easy to find non-union work, so you don't necessarily need an agent for that. When you're union, it's a bit harder. If you don't have an agent, you actually can't find your own union audition. So if you're union, it's not easy to be self-represented and try to find work. And especially when you're union, you're not allowed to do any non-union projects. So you're kind of stuck in this like in the middle position. There's different types of agents. There's film and TV agents, there are theater agents, there are commercial agents, there are voiceover agents, there are dancer agents. Like, there's different types of agencies and agents. Each agency can either be a small agency known as a boutique agency, which means it's usually 1 to 2 agents, maybe sometimes 3. And the reason why they're called boutique is because they literally only have a very small roster of actors, like probably no more than 40, maybe sometimes 50. The A-list agencies, known as like the big top agencies, they usually have a bit more clients. To be honest, I get questions all the time where it's like, what do you prefer? Like, should I go for a boutique agency or a bigger agency? I think it's so subjective to every person. I have met actors who literally love big agencies. They're into that sort of very business transaction style of a relationship. They want to be a part of a big agency. They like that, almost like a brand name of it, and that's fine. That's what they prefer. There are people who will not, no matter how many amazing credits they have, they won't go for big A-list names. They want to be a part of a boutique agency. They like more of a personal relationship. Boutique agencies will have that more of a personable relationships, I've noticed, because they're a smaller roster. They're able to connect more individually with their clients. I have been a part of boutique agencies only, and I do like the boutiqueness because I feel like where I'm at in my life, the boutique agency works because I'm able to almost build that connection and that relationship, and that to me is important. I would never go for a business transaction where it's just like, hi, audition, great, thanks, awesome. Like, I'm not into that kind of connection. I like to get to know who I'm working with, but everybody's different, and you will know that over the time. Every agent does their job the way they want to do it. So no agent is ever the same. Even within all the boutique agencies, no agent is ever the same. Same with the big A-list agencies. They all work in their own sort of element, so it's always going to be a different relationship and a new relationship with every agent that you end up signing on with. When it comes to talking to your agent and writing emails and texts and like just having building that relationship and conversing with your agent, you want to remember that they're not your boss, they're not your manager, they don't have power over you. You do not need to be afraid of your agent. If you are not booking, you are not making money for them. They do not get paid on an hourly base from the government. They're not on salary or hourly wage from anything else. They strictly live off on the commission that their clients make for them. So if you book, you make money equals a percentage to that goes into their paycheck, and that's how they make their meals, and that's how they pay their rent and whatever. So it's not oh, they have 80% and you have 20%. I personally see agents' relationships 50-50. If they put their work in by putting me out there on auditions, and then I do the work by booking stuff, then it's great. Now, yes, there are agents that unfortunately should not be agents in this industry, and I have personally met them. They sort of like to instill this superior feeling over you, almost as if like they know better and that they can kind of almost like tower over you. That's not good. You don't want to be with an agent that makes you feel that way. When you're applying to agencies, yes, you obviously want to be professional. Like, you're not going to be like, hey, what's up, bestie? Like, you're not going to say that. But I personally, when I was applying to agencies, like, I make it me. Like, I say, hi, like, how are you? Like, I know your time is valuable, so I'm gonna keep this short. My name is Anastasia. I'm a Toronto actor. I'm also a YouTuber. I like, in my cover letter, I talked about how I do body positivity on my Instagram and how I help other like actors get into the industry. Like, I talk about that kind of stuff, and I keep it fun, bubbly, but yet still there's a level of professionalism. So you do kind of want to find what is your groove. Now, for example, my boyfriend, he is so like professional, eh? He is so down to the T. He would never do that in an email, and that's fine. That's completely normal. If that's who you are, that's okay. Keep it professional, like super, very like structural if that's what you want. You want to make it connected to you because it kind of gives them a sense of who you are and whether your relationship and the energy that you bring through the email is going to work for them. When you are signing with an agent and you have already signed with an agent, a lot of people ask, like, do you email them or do you text them? It depends. Texting is more so what I do with my agent. The only time I get emails from them is when it's like, hey, big announcement, we're, I don't know, moving offices, or hey, our agency's going paperless, so we're putting everything on a, like, I don't know, platform. Or auditions, like I get a notification for cast of workbook through my email, that kind of stuff. My previous agent actually was not a texter. The only time they wanted you to text them was if, let's say, you're on set and something happens and you need their advice, or you need them to almost be like, because they act as a legal counsel for you as well. So that's the only time you would text them. Everything else was done over email. So that's something you'll kind of figure out as the time goes by, what works with your agent in terms of texting or emailing. Same thing, like when I text my agent, like I'll just be like, hey, how are you? A couple questions about the auditions, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, thanks so much. Keep it short, keep it simple, keep it to the point. They get 100 messages a day from everybody that is working for them and with them. So you don't want to send them like 300, word essay about the audition or whatever. You want to keep it to the point, straight, ask the question, done. Don't be afraid to text or email your agent. Like, if you have questions, ask questions. You don't want to sit there and not know what you're doing and then you end up doing it wrong, but because you never reached out. With that being said, now don't email or text your agent every single day with like, hey, how's the weather? Or if it's been 1 week and you haven't audition, don't go to your agent being like, it's been 1 week. I have gone 8-9 weeks without auditions for whatever reason. It could have been that I couldn't get into the room. Maybe there was no auditions for me. They also kind of take turns in applying everybody. So don't think that, oh, just because you don't have an audition for a week, that means you have to almost like be annoying to your agent. You never want to be annoying to your agent. It's all about the balance. Just like I said, you don't want to be overpowering and super annoying, but at the same time, you want to build this sort of relationship with your agent, and you'll feel it out as the time goes by. I think it's super important to constantly stay connected with your agent. You don't want to go 6-7 months without ever having a conversation with your agent, because then it also shows to your agent like, hey, I'm here, remember me? Like, I'm here to work, I'm ready to work, I'm excited, like ding, 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 I'm right here. Because this reminds your agent that you are in the industry, you are excited about the industry, and you want to work in the industry. So you kind of want to find a balance of how things work with the relationship between you and your agent. Sometimes agents won't answer you for a couple of days, and that's totally fine. Again, like I said, agents get 3 million messages a day and emails from casting directors to submitting auditions to callbacks to new emails from people who are looking to be represented, whatever. So if they don't answer for a couple days, that's fine. Just give it some time. And if, let's say, after like a week they don't answer you, they may have forgotten, and that's okay. That doesn't mean that they forgot about you or you're not important to them. They have many things on their plate as well. Just send them a friendly reminder like, hey, just want to double check if you got a chance to read my email or text. Don't read into answers sometimes, because even like my agent right now, sometimes they'll just be like a simple answer of yes or a simple answer of no. And it almost sounds like, oh my God, are they mad at me? They're not mad at you. They just don't have time to give you a full page essay of an answer. It's for them easy just to be like, yep, sounds great, or thumbs up, or whatever. I like to look at agents as like dating. Okay, it sounds so weird, but it's true. Like when you have an agent, it's having a relationship. It's like having a boyfriend or girlfriend, it's having a partner. If your agent like clearly does not care about you, like when you ask for meetings, they don't want to meet with you, or they like don't really answer you, they don't really work for you or submit you, like they just don't care, and you get that sense of feeling, like that's almost kind of like in a sense of a toxic relationship, because it's not working. For whatever reason, they just have you on for the sake of having you on, but they don't want to work for you. And that will happen. I've had an agent like that, and I've had that agent for 2 years, and I should have left within the first 6 months because I was seeing red flags. But again, I stayed because I was afraid that if I didn't stay, would I even get another agent? I had a lot of fear, and I was like, oh no, I'll be agentless. And that's the other thing that you have to remember, that there's nothing wrong with being agentless. There's nothing wrong with being self-represented, whether you're non-union or union. It is okay to be self-represented. In fact, it's sometimes healthy, because when I was self-represented and I was still part of the union at this time, I was self-represented for, I think, 1.5 years. And I grew so much during that time. I redid my entire package. I was able to find so much, shouldn't be saying this on my video, but like under the table non-union work essentially, where I would like talk to my friends and be like, hey, you're creating a project, great, don't pay me, I just want to be a part of your project, give me something so I can add it to my demo, I can keep my creative like juices flowing. And because of that, I was able to really expand what I needed to expand, and then I ended up getting an amazing agent that I'm with right now, and I'm super happy about it. So being self-represented and kind of coming away with your agent, there's nothing wrong with that. It's sometimes really healthy and important, and the time sometimes has to come, and that's okay. If that's what you have to go for, then go for it. Okay, let's talk about check-ins and follow-ups. It's like the same thing, but when you're with an agent, I think it's super important to constantly check in and follow up with your agent on, again, depends. I know people who follow up on like a 2-week basis with their agent. I know people who follow up once a month. I know people who follow up every season. Check-ins and follow-ups are important to have for many reasons. One, the start of the year. For example, I actually messaged my agent today to be like, hey, start of the year, I got a new headshots, I got, like I updated my resume, a couple of new things are happening for me, and I wanna check in with them just to let them know, hey, I got a new production job, like this is kind of where I'm at, and where do I see my year going? Where do I see my like goals for this year in terms of acting? Because it's important that you want to be on the same page with your agent when it comes to like goals and where you want to continue on and all that kind of stuff. And they're not going to know that unless you do a check-in. So I do a check-in every few months, and it depends. Like for example, back in like May, I posted a video of my 25 year quarter life crisis or whatever. You can check it out, I'll link it up here. But I didn't have any auditions for about 9 or 10 weeks. And I actually ended up checking with my agent to be like, hey, what's going on? Like, is it me? What's happening? Let's chat about it. And we ended up having a really nice phone conversation about, you know, auditions and how I should maybe start class and, you know, this and that, whatever. And that had nothing to do with a 6-month timeline. It had nothing to do with a 1-year timeline or even renewing a contract. No, it was strictly just, there was something happening in that moment. I felt that a check-in needed to happen, and I did it. So you don't have to follow necessarily a timeline. You can also do it when you feel like something is going on, or let's say you're not getting enough auditions, or there's sometimes when you're getting too many auditions and you're like, I cannot keep up. Like, this is great that you're giving me so many auditions, but I physically do not have the time to do so many at a time. Or sometimes they're applying you to things that you're like, this is not me. So if my agent kept putting me for the wrong stuff, I would also have a check-in with them and just be like, hey, I don't think I'm booking any of this because it's just not me. I'm not connecting to the work. So let's chat about where you see me and where you see my casting, because it's not working. And that's also fine. Again, you guys work for each other. So if you're not enjoying what you're going out for, you have full right to say, I don't enjoy for what I go out for. Can we talk about this? And maybe regroup. If it's something super serious, I think face-to-face would be the best. If it's just a quick little phone chat of just like, hey, like, yeah, those last 3 auditions, not really my vibe, let's not do that. Great, no problem. 5-minute phone call, you're done. It's nice to also check in with your agent because it also shows that you care, and it also reminds your agent like, hey, I'm here, I'm wanting to work. It's also great to ask for feedback. Like that is considered a check-in with your agent. Like, hey, how did you like those last 3 big auditions I did? What did you think? Or, hey, I submitted my tape today. Do you mind watching it? Because I think it's some of my best work. Or you could also ask them to ask about feedback from casting. This is also really important because sometimes when, let's say, you've been seen by the same casting director many, many times, but you haven't booked for them. There's nothing wrong with that. It is great that the casting director keeps bringing you back in the room. It means that whatever you're doing, keep doing it because it's great. They enjoy your work, so they want to see it. Now, sometimes it can get you can be a little bit stuck. And so what you can do is ask your agent as part of the check-in or follow-up, like, hey, you know, Betty has been seeing me a million times for these kinds of roles. Do you mind getting some feedback from my last audition from her? Like, just curious what she has to say. Because then what happens, this will put into the casting director in their head like, oh, hey, Anastasia asked for feedback. Great, well, we have an audition for her. Let's bring her in. And they're gonna be watching you for that audition, which is great. So make sure you do your best work for the next audition if you're asking for feedback from casting, because they will definitely have clocked your name since you have asked for them to clock your name. Let's talk about leaving agents. This is an interesting topic because leaving agents can be very messy, but also leaving agents can also be a really beautiful time. Sometimes it can be mutual, like where both parties are like, yeah, you know what, it's just not working, we gotta go. Sometimes the agent wants to let you go, and sometimes you want to let go of the agent. It will happen, and it is okay if your agent lets go of you. It is okay if you want to let go of your agent. There is nothing wrong with that. So there is this thing that when you're signed with an agent, they can do like a hold you for 60 days once you decide that you are leaving and you tell them that you are leaving. And they will put you out for any audition, and whatever money you make during that time, they will get the commission for it. Now, if you had another agent that is wanting to sign with you during that time, they cannot sign with you until the 60 days are done. So let's say you had a bad relationship with your agent and you're like, I'm done with this, I'm leaving, I got a new agent. And this happens to be just around the summer, like it's June. Sometimes agents can be petty, and sometimes agents will then hold you for 60 days and literally not put you out for anything as like a form of screw you for doing this. And then that sucks because then for June and July, some of the busiest months we have here, like in the industry, you're not being put out for any auditions because your new agent can't put you out because you're still connected to a contract. But then your old agent is like strategically not putting you out for anything. So now you're kind of stuck. So if you are choosing to leave your agent and you think your agent might do something petty like this because you don't have an amazing relationship, make sure to be doing it during a time where it's okay if you're not being put out for 2 months. Like let's say Christmas time or the beginning of the year, like January, Feb is kind of slow. Like March, April, like just like these months, sometimes like October, November can be slow as well. But you don't want to be doing it during like the really nice, big, like popular months because you can get screwed over with that. Now, there are also agents that will not hold you for 60 days. They'll just be like, yeah, no problem, totally get it, that's fine. Let's let go of the contract and that's that. And that's great because then you can start working with your new agency right away. There's nothing wrong. Now, if you've booked anything with your old agent, they will still make money off of that because it's still signed under their contract. That's the only thing, but otherwise, everything else from now on, once that contract is ended, that comes in new with your new agency will be towards your new agent. There is no right way when it comes to ending a relationship with an agent and a contract with an agent. There are people that say, don't tell your agent that you're looking for a new agency because then they're gonna be like, okay, well, let's just end the contract now and then you will have no agent. But then at the same time, I feel that it's not a good idea to also go behind their back by telling, like not saying anything and then almost like like hitting them really hard with it, being like, yeah, I'm leaving, and then they're like so confused. So I personally say it's good to do a check-in and a follow-up where you're kind of feeling like, okay, I think I need to leave my agent because things are not working. I would do a check-in, a follow-up, because then it's like you doing one last time to be like, okay, let's give this another go. Let's see if you're gonna work for me for the next 6 months. And if it's still the same after I've had a meeting with you and expressed my concerns and expressed how I'm feeling and expressed what I'm looking from you, and you still haven't changed, well then, okay, then I think it's time for you to rethink your game and start looking out for a new agent. When you are leaving an agent, there's gonna be a lot of signing of contracts because you're ending the contract. Again, I think when it comes to leaving an agent, I would do it over email because I think email is like a more of a standard form of like resignation letter. That's kind of how you want to look at it. This is it for agents and your relationships with them and how to talk to them and how to build a relationship with them and just kind of like all the ins and outs once it comes to agents. I already said this in the video and I'll say it again. Remember, your agent, you guys work together. It's a 50-50, in my opinion, relationship. They work for you, you work for them. Do not be afraid of your agent. Do not instill a fear inside of you, and do not be afraid to build a relationship with your agent, because it is important to have a healthy relationship with your agent, because that is the foundation of building a really good relationship with acting in the industry as well. Honeys, comment down below any questions you have about agents and agencies and, you know, building blocks of all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna get out of here because I have work in about an hour and I have to go make myself a quick lunch. But I love you and have a wonderful Friday.